A whisper in the park. The rescue of Lily. What struck Carter wasn't her disheveled appearance, but the fear in her wide, darting eyes. Unlike the other children, whose faces glowed with joy, hers was etched with a haunting sadness, a quiet panic that set his instincts on edge. Carter slowed his pace, observing her carefully to avoid startling her. Was she lost? Separated from her parents? Or was something darker at play? Kneeling a few feet away, he offered a gentle smile. "Hey there, little one," he said softly, his voice warm but steady. "Are you okay?" The girl hesitated, glancing nervously over her shoulder, as if expecting someone to appear. Then, with a trembling whisper, she leaned forward and uttered 4 words that hit Carter like a jolt. "Please help me, she's bad." The words hung heavy, each syllable laced with fear. Carter's heart thudded, his training kicking in as he processed the gravity of her plea. Before he could respond, a shadow moved swiftly toward them. A woman in her mid-30s, wearing dark sunglasses and a loose sweater, strode forward with purpose. Her smile was forced, her movements sharp. Without a word, she grabbed the girl's arm, pulling her away with a grip that made the child wince. "Come on, sweetie," the woman said, her voice overly sweet. "We're late for something." Carter stood, his hand raised. "Ma'am, hold on a moment," he called, but the woman barely paused, tossing back a dismissive, "She's my niece." "We're in a hurry." Her smile didn't reach her eyes, and the girl's terrified expression only deepened Carter's unease. As the woman hustled the child toward a gray sedan parked nearby, Carter noted the license plate, Delta 582 Victor. The girl stumbled, her stuffed bear dragging along the ground, and within seconds, the woman shoved her into the back seat and sped off. Carter's gut screamed that this wasn't right. The woman's haste, the child's fear, the forced explanation, it all felt wrong. He reached for his radio, his voice steady despite his racing pulse. "Dispatch, Unit 17, requesting backup at Willow Park. Possible abduction in progress. Gray sedan, plate Delta 582 Victor, heading west on Oak Street." As the sedan vanished, Carter's resolve hardened. He wouldn't let this girl slip away. The park's cheerful noise faded into the background as Carter replayed the encounter. The girl's whispered plea echoed in his mind. Her frightened eyes burned into his memory. He approached a group of parents nearby, asking if anyone recognized the girl or the woman. Most shook their heads, but one mother recalled seeing the girl sitting alone under a tree earlier, looking like she didn't belong. Another bystander mentioned a gray sedan idling near the park's entrance for nearly half an hour, an odd detail that hadn't seemed significant until now. Dispatch crackled through his radio. "Unit 17, the vehicle's plate is registered as stolen. Reported 3 days ago. We're running it statewide." Carter's jaw tightened. A stolen car wasn't proof of a crime, but it was a red flag. His mind flashed to earlier that day when he'd noticed a similar sedan parked near another park during his patrol. At the time, it hadn't raised alarms, but now it felt like a piece of a larger puzzle. Was the woman targeting children at multiple locations? Carter climbed into his patrol car, the engine roaring as he followed the sedan's last known direction. His thoughts raced. Who was this woman? Where was she taking the girl? The child's plea suggested she wasn't a relative, despite the woman's claim. As he drove, he requested dispatch to pull surveillance footage from nearby streets and businesses, hoping to track the sedan's movements. Backup units were dispatched to canvass other parks where the car had been spotted, seeking witnesses who might offer more clues. The radio crackled again. "Unit 17, traffic cameras caught the sedan heading toward a service station near Route 12. Carter's grip on the steering wheel tightened as he sped toward the location, his mind a whirlwind of hope and dread. A service station was a common stop for someone planning to leave town or disappear entirely. Every second felt like it was slipping away, but he couldn't afford to lose focus. The service station glowed under flickering neon lights, a small outpost on the edge of town. Carter pulled in, parking near the entrance to scan the lot. The gray sedan wasn't visible, but he wasn't taking chances. Stepping out, his hand rested lightly on his holster as he surveyed the pumps and the convenience store. Inside, 2 officers were already questioning the clerk, who confirmed a woman in sunglasses had bought snacks and left quickly, glancing nervously outside. "She was alone," the clerk added. "But there's a camera that might have caught something." While an officer retrieved the footage, Carter stepped outside, his eyes scanning the lot. Backup units arrived, checking every corner, behind dumpsters, under parked vehicles, along the perimeter. Then, tucked between 2 delivery vans, they found the sedan, its engine still warm. Carter's pulse quickened as he peered inside. A faint bloodstain smeared the back seat, alongside a scrap of fabric matching the girl's dress. His stomach churned. This was no longer just a suspicion. It was a crisis. Officers called out, pointing to fresh footprints leading from the sedan toward a dense forest nearby. Small prints, likely the girl's, or accompanied by larger ones. "She's on foot," Carter muttered, radioing for K9 units and a helicopter with thermal imaging. The forest loomed, its shadows swallowing the trail. Carter led a team into the woods, flashlights cutting through the darkness, the dogs sniffing eagerly. The terrain was treacherous. Roots snaked across the ground, branches clawed at their uniforms, but Carter pressed on, driven by the girl's terrified face. After 20 minutes, a K9 handler shouted, "We've got something!" The dog sat beside a bush, where a torn piece of fabric hung on a thorn, matching the girl's dress. The team pushed forward, the forest thinning as moonlight broke through. A sharp whistle from another group led them to a clearing, where a dilapidated cabin stood, its flickering light betraying signs of life. Carter signaled for silence, creeping closer. Through a cracked window, he saw the woman pacing, a knife glinting in her hand. In the corner, the girl huddled, clutching her bear, alive but petrified. Carter's mind raced. A frontal assault risked the girl's safety, but waiting wasn't an option. He devised a plan. One officer would create a distraction, allowing Carter to slip through the window. As a teammate kicked a nearby crate, the woman spun toward the noise, giving Carter his chance. He climbed through the window, landing silently on the dirt floor. "It's okay," he whispered to the girl, whose eyes widened with hope. She grabbed his hand, her small fingers trembling. A creaking floorboard betrayed his presence. The woman whirled, her face twisting with fury. "Stop!" she screamed, lunging with the knife. As Carter shielded the girl, the SWAT team burst through the door, shouting commands. The woman hesitated, distracted, and Carter pulled the girl to safety. Officers subdued the woman, cuffing her as the knife fell. Medics rushed the girl named Lily out, wrapping her in a blanket. Her tears, now of relief, flowed freely as she clung to her bear. The cabin yielded chilling evidence. Maps marked with schools and parks, fake IDs, and traces of blood. The woman was a known predator, her history of abductions uncovered by investigators. Lily, reunited with her family, had been taken from a store days earlier. Her parents' gratitude overwhelmed Carter, who gave Lily a small badge-shaped pin calling her brave. The community rallied, shaken but grateful. Carter's resolve deepened, a drawing from Lily, a smiling officer and girl under a bright sun pinned above his desk. Her words, "Thank you for finding me," fueled his purpose. In the darkest moments, Carter had followed a whisper, proving that one act of vigilance could change everything. The sun lounged low in the sky, bathing the suburban streets in a warm, golden hue. Officer Samuel Carter's boots tapped rhythmically against the pavement as he patrolled, the quiet afternoon lulling the neighborhood into a deceptive calm. It was one of those rare shifts where the world seemed to pause. Children's laughter echoed, birds chirped, and the air carried a gentle breeze. But Carter, seasoned by years on the force, knew better than to trust such serenity. Danger often hid in plain sight, waiting for a moment of inattention. As he approached a small community park, the scene was idyllic. Swings creaked under the weight of giggling children, parents chatted on benches, and a soccer ball rolled across the grass. Yet, something drew Carter's gaze to the edge of the playground. A young girl, no older than 6, stood alone, clutching a tattered stuffed bear. Her clothes were slightly rumpled, dirt smudged on her knees as if she'd been crawling or kneeling.